She feels, and another part of her observes her feeling and draws its conclusions, as if a mad doctor were in residence between her temples. Increasingly, the conclusions of this watching Abigail are ominous. She barely sleeps, and when she does, her dreams are so terrible that most nights she wakes with a cry of fear which startles her husband Charles awake, and she must once again face that morbid expression of guilt which descends on him, the one she has come to loathe. She walks down the stairs and out into the street, peeking round the corner of the door like some cowardly lurking footpad. Her husband mustn't see her leave, for he will stop her, and she will not be able to resist the weight of his crushing obligation. She knows that he has a veritable invisible army of small boys watching the streets of Wapping, reporting back anything interesting or odd. He is a constable, after all, one with responsibilities for the peace. Perhaps the peace of this street has been bought with the peace of her own marriage bed. She wonders if Charles pays the boys for watching the comings and goings so assiduously, or if they feel they are taking part in some kind of game. The street is clear, at least of any faces she recognizes. She closes the outside door and locks it, little remembered activities for the hands, as her mind scurries through its two-headed dance of dismay and observation. With her heavy canvas bag, she walks down Lower Gun Alley, for all the world like some seaman headed down to the London dock to catch a ship to Leghorn or Guinea or Arabia. Lower Gun Alley gives out onto Wapping Street, and if she were to turn right here, she would find herself at the River Police Office, her husband's place of work. The street is crowded with people this morning, and the thick early morning fog has lifted. She looks left and right again, but the gesture is futile. She wouldn't notice Charles or one of his small boys or even the other constables of the police office out here on this crowded street. She must hope that she blends into the crowd as easily as they would. She turns left and walks away from the police office, away from Lower Gun Alley, away from Charles Horton. There is a good deal of panic in her head as she goes. She has barely left their rooms for 6 weeks now, ever since her anxiety had suddenly deepened, like dark blue seawater off a reef. Charles has taken to buying the food and drink necessary for their meals. When necessity has forced her out into the street, she has found the crowds oppressive. The brick walls which lace their way through Wapping, holding in the spaces of the London dock, have become to her like the walls of a prison, holding her and all those on the streets in a state of isolation from the metropolis, squeezed in against the river, unable to flee. A madhouse on the water with its own streets, its own watching eyes, its own stenches and mysteries. This feeling of imprisonment has been acute because it is flight she dreams of. Not flight from Wapping or even from Charles, but from the woman in the forest, the one who pursues her and fills her head with unclean thoughts as she comes. A savage woman promising violence and revenge and despair for those who oppose her. She catches the glance of a small boy who is staring at her. He is standing in the door of a shop, chewing on something indescribable, wearing a man's hat which looks like an upturned bucket, his clothes scruffy and dirty as his face. But his eyes are sharp and watchful, and she sees in them that something about her, her scurrying walk, her bag of clothes, maybe even her frantic expression, has caught his attention. She hurries on, the urgency in her as great as it is in the dreams. If the boy finds Charles and tells him what he has seen, Charles will know immediately what she has decided to do, for she has spoken of it before. He will chase after her, perhaps with a carriage. He may even guess at her destination. Charles is mystifyingly good at such guesses. Things start to change as she nears the top of Old Gravel Lane. The